Thomas Higgins, the superintendent of the school board and a longtime enemy of Elizabeth, reappears on When Calls the Heart, Season 11, Episode 6, ready to stir up trouble. When Calls the Heart Season 4, Episode 11 featured Thomas Higgins' most recent appearance, in which he penned a letter that led to Elizabeth's termination. He only wrote it after she rejected him and pursued her sexually once again, implying that if they dated, he would erase it. Higgins probably has a great deal of resentment toward Elizabeth, because she discovered evidence that he had sexually harassed other instructors as well before being reinstated. We should have been able to bring Landis back instead. He was first adamant about the proper method to operate the Valley School District, but after witnessing Elizabeth in action, he had second thoughts. Elizabeth should have been dealing with a sensible school board, I had hoped. Regretfully, Higgins comes back with the sole intention of destroying Elizabeth. Though generally calm, Elizabeth becomes tense at the mere thought of seeing him again. As Lucas has never seen the governor before, he tries to make her feel uneasy by endearing him with his views. Worse yet, Higgins seems to have decided on Anna as his latest victim, and she has come under his influence. It appears that he is attracted to educators. Since Anna has known Elizabeth since she was a little child, it is also likely that if he wishes to fire Elizabeth, he is preparing Anna to take her position. When a former character reappears, it's usually exciting, but Thomas Higgins just evoked negative emotions. James Cott, however, played him as the head of the Valley District School Board this time. His only remaining objective was to ruin Elizabeth Thornton's life. One of the archetypal sexual harassers was Thomas Higgins. He was aware of his authority, particularly since he intended to alter some testing requirements, which Elizabeth detested. She worked so hard to teach Angela in a traditional classroom, which is part of the reason she always wanted to adopt her own teaching methods. She now helps Toby learn math using different strategies. Elizabeth was uneasy because Higgins would not even talk to her about those adjustments unless she went out to dinner with him. This reminded Elizabeth of how he had harassed her when she was a younger teacher and ultimately led to her termination. Initially, Higgins was successful because he perplexed Elizabeth. She felt like he was flirting with her, but he was so good at his games that she was self-conscious and didn't want to risk her school. Higgins seemed to be primarily concerned about control. The worst attitude in education administration is one in which the teacher doesn't seem to care if the kids fail or are placed back in remedial classes. He then put on his charm, suggesting that he would make things better for Elizabeth if she dated him. When Anna arrived toward the end, she didn't recognize the snake for what he truly was. She saw him as a kind benefactor who could advance her career. Elizabeth was trying to save Anna from what had happened to her, but Higgins was making her look crazy and threatening the school's name, Jack's legacy, and Elizabeth's career. She broke down in Nathan's arms and confided everything to him, which relieved me. Elizabeth didn't need a man to save her, in my opinion, but she did need someone to reassure her that she was capable of facing this loser. For Elizabeth to implement a successful plan, she needed to feel that someone else believed in her. That sting was funny and captivating. I knew Elizabeth's schoolhouse was a trap as soon as she led Higgins there, and Higgins walked straight into it. Higgins figured that since he set up a meeting between Lucas and Edwin, they would trust him, but Lucas instructed him to get out of town since he strongly believed Elizabeth. I knew Elizabeth would get support from the town. Couples typically come together during times of crisis, and Elizabeth and Nathan shared some very tender moments when he stood by her. Let's hope for better days in the future. The duration of Anna's reappearance was brief, and it appeared that her main purpose was to advance Elizabeth's plot rather than to give Anna a separate arc. A young teacher's professional advancement was just as important as Elizabeth's plot. It's all about showing us, not just telling us. Show us situations where Anna is instructing the students or asking Elizabeth for advice on how to mentor other students. If Elizabeth had known what Thomas Higgins had said to Anna, it would have been advantageous for this storyline. All this plot was decent. It could have been much better. By the end of When Calls the Heart Season 11, the authors hinted that at least one couple would tie the knot. Mike and Mai, or Nathan and Elizabeth, make the greatest candidates. All that has been made apparent are Nathan and Elizabeth's goals. Despite having known one another for some time, they still need to adjust to this new stage of their relationship. After dating for 6 months, Mike and Mai regularly go on breakfast dates and are getting to know each other's families. Mai loved to tell humiliating stories about her upbringing and wished she could take him home to her family, but Mike whined about his sister. These two were really cute together, even though Mai was hesitant to give him her mother's favorite food because she thought it wouldn't turn out as well. All she was thankful for was having someone to share it with. It's simpler to invest in Mike and Mai's happiness because they appear to be blessed with a lot of romantic and adorable moments lately. Since others assisted them in getting ready for their special night and then left them alone, they both frequently assisted the town. The mood was created by the chilled champagne, beautiful bouquets, and Chinese lanterns. When Mike began talking about being a part of her life forever, I almost believed he was about to pop the question. Although it appeared to be the ideal scenario, Mike waited for their connection to grow before making the leap. At last, we got to see more of Rosemary and Lee while she relished her role as a political wife. Rosemary is a great fit for the part since, like Lee, she is aware of everything going on in Hope Valley and wants to see their small community improved. Rosemary knows fashion so well, but it's been so long since we've seen her in the business that sometimes people forget that. That's why she was so funny when she tried to get him ready for the role. The Coulters understood that everyone needed to share their thoughts with the new mayor, even though they had first tried to arrange a private meeting of Hope Valley's leaders. When they prioritized one another, they'd function as a cohesive unit. Seeing more of Rosemary's intellect and enthusiasm utilized has been energizing. She also frequently meddles in other people's affairs, which is typically beneficial.